All right, won't be long.
Oh, you might be if you get a good crowd.
Hello, who have we got here this evening, or rather this morning? So, welcome to the Just Jamie live stream. So, I've got a couple of people watching at the moment. Now, I just decided to do another live stream. Reason being is because I'm not particularly tired, and I thought to myself, let's just do this. Let's actually try and speak to some people in different parts of the world, obviously different time zones. And I never streamed at 2 a.m. in the morning before, so it'll be interesting to see who's here and who's not here. So we're going to be taking register in a minute, just like schools. Okay, so just going to wait for some people and have a chit chat and see if anyone needs any support on anything I've covered in the past few weeks or whenever. So anybody here? Okay, so looks like we got a few people. Who's here tonight or this morning? Okay, morning, Peter. So, have you had any trouble getting the latest nightly build of PCSX2 working? Can get work with the latest PCSX2. So I've not covered Hyperspin for a little while. I was actually doing a stream um last night explaining I've pretty much given up on Hyperspin. The reason being is that the first part I did, what, 5 or 6 months ago, it was a little bit problematic at the time, finding particular files, that type of thing. And so the other day, I thought to myself, let's actually take a look again at Hyperspin. And I was going to continue where part one ended. And again, probably worse. this time round. Literally, files are uploaded, bits and pieces are uploaded on Hyperspin forums, and it was just an endless cycle of just going to dead ends links, that type of thing, and I just gave up on it. And in fact, to the point where I did a few minutes worth of video the other day, alternatives to Hyperspin. So in that video, I was talking about retro FE, attract mode, which are better, if not just the same, pretty much as Hyperspin. Although files for retro FE and attract mode plus, they're just so much easier to come by. Attract mode at times, it just seems like particular things is a little bit like looking for a needle in a haystack. So yeah, exactly, Peter. So this is the big issue with Hyperspin. And although it's a decent, really good front end and it looks stunning, that's why people like it, or the idea of it at least, it's just an absolute pain in the arse. So really, for your own sanity, stick with attract mode. Like I said, I uploaded a little video the other day, just pretty much giving you a heads up on alternatives. Now, if you've been watching my content for a little time, you'll know that I pretty much covered most front end systems. And with my own experience of using Hyperspin and Attract mode in Retro FE, easily those two compare 100% with it. So highly customizable, just like Hyperspin, to the point where you can even get Hyperspin themes for using in things like Retro FE and Attract mode. So really, once you've set all that up, so long as you've got the correct themes, like a Hyperspin theme, you wouldn't really tell the difference, to be honest with you. So we got 7 people here. So yeah, you know, retro FE and attract mode. I've not actually covered either of those for a little time, but I do have a couple of playlists. Attract mode plus was the last one I did with using retroarch with that, so it's definitely worth checking out that one. Standalone is simpler, less clutter, and well, it depends, Tony. I mean, there's people out there who enjoy messing around, tinkering around with visuals, that type of thing. You know, when I make my videos, my setup guides, I kind of enjoy doing it myself, learning about things, and you know, I say totally 100%. I'm a visual whore. Eye candy is what I like, and yeah, so it's all down to preference, but in terms of saving disk space, yeah, you're actually right. You know, images, videos, it all amounts up. You know, even more so with things such as Launchbox, which I use. You're then downloading music files and things like that. So yeah, so like Cosmic just said, Pete, by far, Attract Mode Plus is a must really. Let's I can actually point you in the right direction if I just bring up my Attract Mode videos. This one here is the one I was just talking about. So you've got Attract Mode. Bear with me a sec. Boards. We're gonna just go to the desktop. Where are we? Where's my? There we go. So this link just here, this is going to take you to Attract Mode Plus, where I'll show you how to set up RetroArch. Obviously, RetroArch is a really good system to use because it covers so much. Um, yeah, so check that one out, and just bear in mind there's kind of two versions of Attract Mode. You've got the original version, which hasn't been updated for a long time, but you've also got a fairly active community who's taken on attract mode and they put plus on the ends, which kind of brings it up to date just a little bit. So check the video out and you'll see for yourself that you can very much make it into hyperspin. Um, looking at looks wise anyway. And yeah, Cosmic, you're also right. I found that out myself using the tracked mode. It is very, very fast. So yeah, another good point you got there, Peter. Especially preview videos. Yes, it's good to see the games you've actually got. Obviously by file names, not only kind of they look a bit ugly, but you don't have anything to go on. So there could be a lot of hidden gems you're not aware of, and you wouldn't think about clicking on that game just by the name itself. So yeah, visuals um, can help a lot. I agree with that. So yeah, if anyone's just joined, I actually did a stream a few hours ago, and I thought to myself, I'm a little bit bored. I can't sleep at the moment, so I thought let's just try and talk to some new people I don't normally talk to. Obviously, I'm in the UK, so time difference is it's a little bit weird. Okay, so if anyone's into Commodore 64, earlier on today I uploaded US Gold's worst C64 games, which is worth checking out. That's pretty awful. The games in that one are, yeah, pretty shocking. For retrobat users today, on a net play guide for retrobat, which is very simple to get running with that. And just a couple of hours ago, I uploaded a Fightcade setup guide. Dinner time here in California. Well, I'll be honest with you, Pete or Peter. I just had supper. Well, a couple of hours ago. So yeah, really crazy stuff. These time differences they make one's heads just go a bit strange. So how is this possible? Okay, so yeah, looks like we got a good crowd tonight, so I'm pleased about that. I've got 10 people so far. Obviously, it's normally happens every stream. I'll be streaming for 45 minutes. I normally do hour-long streams, and so literally on the on the last 10 minutes of packing it up, loads of viewers come in like, oh, my voice box is broken up. So, anyways, it's good to have so many new people here. Um, yeah. So I think I'm going to do this a little bit more often around this sort of time. So just to chat to people I've not chatted to before. So if you're new to the chat, if you just come in, we was just discussing hyperspin and what a complete pain in the arse it is. Finding files where it dead links, that type of thing. So I've left a link in the chat just there. That's for something very similar. That's Attract Mode Plus. So check that one out. It's very good. If you want the hyperspin experience, check that one out for sure. Okay, and I always say this, and bear with me. Where are we? If anyone wants to support what I do here on my channel and just help out the channel a little bit, I'm just going to leave my direct PayPal link just there. So any donations, any support is very welcome. I'm always very appreciative of it. And obviously, I just go to the channel to get better equipment, microphones, light guns, that type of thing. So I didn't actually know that Cosmic. I didn't know that at all. So that's pretty interesting. So quite literally, then, when I say attract mode um, is almost identical in visuals to hyperspin, then yeah, I can see definitely there's a big similarity there. Okay, so yeah, what I normally do on the streams is pretty much just do a little. Well, I try to do a little chat and find out what it is that people want from the channel. If there's anything you want covered within reason, and yeah, just have a little chit chat, and maybe I can support potential questions you have or things you might be stuck on. Okie dokes, Blaze, good to see you, or good to read from you. From the UK, or just set up crazy emulation setup on my Series S. Talking Commodore, my first experience of gaming was my mum buying me a C16 when I was 8 years old in the late 80s. Well, you're definitely on the right channel here, Blaze. I'm not sure how long you've been with the channel, but I upload a hell lot of Commodore content. A little while ago, I uploaded a Commodore Plus 4 Turbo Outrun game, which recently came out, and impressive isn't the word to use for it. It was literally like a Commodore 64 game, and yeah, that's very impressive. So really good homebrew community for Commodore computers these days. Hello, Big Time O. Good to see you, or good to read from you. Okay, have you looked into apps that let you have a menu of multiple front ends? Ah. Yeah, funny enough, Peter, I think it was either you or someone else asked me about this the other day. And let's take a look. Menu with multiple front ends. Yeah, so to be honest, Pete, it's not something I've looked into. Let you have a menu with multiple front ends. But it's an interesting idea. So you're kind of saying like a front end for front ends. Is that what you're trying to say? First Vic was first Commodore. My first was a Vic 20. Vic 20. Yeah, so the Commodore before the C64, what's that, around 1980-ish? Okay. So yeah, the TI Texas Instruments computers, they weren't actually too popular to my knowledge in Britain. Obviously I'm 40 years old, so technically Commodore 64, all those micros of the 80s were technically before my time, but I did have a C64 Christmas 1991, and I literally seen the last parts of that sort of era. Um, but yeah, research and having such a big interest in micros of the 80s, I've always been interested in things like that since a young age. Ataris, I used to pick up car boot sales, which you'd likely call, not sure what call them in America. Um, yeah, so yeah, I remember at a car boot sale years ago, I picked up an Atari 800. Also picked up, I think it was an Atari. I can't think which computer it was. It wasn't an ST. It was another 8-bit. But I used to pick up loads of those in the early to mid 90s. Obviously, people didn't want them anymore, and they just literally thrown them away at the time. Whereas today, some of those are pretty collectible. So, have you done much experimenting with tags in attract mode? Have you done much experiment with tags in trap mode? I used to have individual playlists for main. I've not actually covered that yet. Sorry, Cosmic. Uh, okay. And yeah, believe it or not, but there's actually a fairly decent scene creating games, new games for Atari giant computers. Miner 24/9 was one of the best games. Yeah, I've played the game, but I've not played the Texas Instruments version. So I've actually find it amazing these days how many. If you actually take a look at these older platforms, it's quite amazing how many games are being made for them. Commodore 64 is my thing, and I follow the scene religiously, and pretty much with Amiga as well. And especially C64, it's amazing how many games are being made today. How many clones did Pac-Man have? That's the question. I tell you what, talking about new releases on all the platforms. Let me just give you a heads up. You got a couple of websites which I use for new games on all platforms. I always recommend itch.io. So itch.io is a great platform for devs to upload pretty much homebrew games. But itch.io does a range of different platforms. So for example, if I was to type into here, let's see what comes out of Atari 800. So it's literally just a case of looking, and you'll likely find lots of new games. I mean, you even got Atari 2600 games being made still. In fact, around 10 years ago, someone actually uh, made a Halo game for the Atari 2600. Uh, so itch.io is a very good website. Some games are free, and some games you have to pay for. C64 or even VIC-20. Let's see. So yeah, for VIC-20, you've got plenty of games coming out still. Choplifter, absolute classic. So yeah, you got itch.io, and literally put any platform into itch.io and guarantee there's new games for it. Let's just go for Sega Master System. So you've got bits and pieces here for Sega Master System. I think the following from Master System is possibly Brazil. I find a lot of particular platforms, computers, consoles, they've all got their um, fan bases in certain parts of the world. I find the C64 is pretty much all over. ZX or ZX, Spectrum is pretty much a British thing. Then we move on to other systems like the Amstrad CPC, which I don't think was too big in America. But for Amstrad, I find it's a bit of a Spanish following. So, anyways, itch.io is a very good site, and another one I use is called Indie Retro News. Just here, we got pretty much a whole list of new games for old platforms. Today's releases on this, we got Amstrad CPC game, funny enough. What else have we got? ZX Spectrum or ZX Spectrum, more ZX Spectrum, Intellivision. And yeah, there's lots here. If I go to the web view version on Indie Retro News, you'll find systems on the side, and you can narrow down new games just simply by just literally left clicking. So let's see, talking about Atari. So if I go to Atari XEXL, new games here. Obviously, someone like Galaga is a bit like Pac-Man, bit to a penny. So yeah, lots coming out, and some of these games are very good. So yeah, to be honest with you, I should investigate the Atari 8-bit computer scene a little bit more than what I do. Like I say, mainly my thing is Commodore stuff. And yeah, I'd say ZX Spectrum is one of the most active communities out there. Probably 64 next to that. Brazil is still huge on the Genesis Mega Drive. Yeah, it turns out um, Brazil actually still produce Sega Master System games up until somewhat crazy like the 1990s, the late 1990s, I think. So, whilst the rest of the world was on their 32-bit era or 64-bit era, Brazil was still playing around with 8-bit consoles from the early 90s, late 80s. Okay, Kushi, hey man, how do I fix this? I downloaded a PS3 game in my run after I extracted it. It is ISO file. Okay. So to my knowledge, I tell you what, the best way to address that is checking out my video. It will explain it a lot easier. So batocera, RPS there. The reason that is ISO file extension or ISO format or ISO file. They're not recognized by RPCS3. Not to my knowledge, they are. So, follow this guide just here. For RPCS3 emulation, they need to be in a particular format, and if it is in ISO, it's not going to read it. Like I said, not to my knowledge, it won't. So personally, in the past, when I've done PlayStation 3 setup guides, I've normally ripped my own discs. Big PlayStation 3 fan, and yeah, I'll rip discs and I'll convert them into the accepted format for our PCS3. But yeah, most definitely, you're not going to get that working with ISO. Like I said, not to my knowledge anyway. Someone quote me if I'm wrong by saying that, but I don't think you can do it that way. Okay, so how is everyone doing tonight? Right now in the UK, it's 26 minutes, 27 minutes past 2. And if you're new to the chat, new to the stream, just join. Like I was saying, I thought I'd give it a go. You know, I don't normally catch up with particular people who ask me to do streams, so but yeah, I thought I'd do it early in the morning so I can actually chat to some of my viewers. No worries, Kushi. No worries at all, my friends. And I'm also going to just post a link to my PayPal. So if anyone wants to say thanks to the work I do and everything else I do on the channel, I'm always really happy and really appreciative of any donations. The only thing I asked is if you could send it to that PayPal address. Uh, like I say, that really supports my channel and it really spurs me on. 8:30 at night here. Whereabouts are you, big time? So we've already got someone from the UK here. In fact, I didn't actually ask, just out of curiosity, if you're still here. Someone did say they was from the UK. Who was it? Blaze. Whereabouts in the UK are you from, my friends? Texas, Texas. Yes, that's right. I get a little bit carried away. I'm answering people's questions in reading this and that, and then I look at websites to show people things in yeah. So sorry about that. Texas, Texas, Texas was. Don't know if I'm right to say. I think I'm right to say. Was that Texas where JFK was assassinated? I'm pretty sure it was. So yeah, a bit of a random thing to say, but I've got a big interest in American politics, that type of thing, and even Russian politics. So obviously Russia, it's not particularly a good thing at the moment, and yeah, that's the times we're in. I think the world's panicking at the moment because of the pact he's just signed with North Korea, and obviously Mr. Putin is seeing someone, the Prime Minister, President of Vietnam as well. So yeah, a lot of worry actually in the world at the moment. So make the most of this channel. Yeah. Also, Jara got shot. Yeah. So yeah, crazy times. It was what's it, Lee Harvey Oswald, but obviously there's conspiracy theories behind that type of thing. That is more like a an assassination from the CIA or something along those lines. I yeah, really into conspiracy theories as well. And like I was saying, in terms of Russia, I'm always hunting for new things to learn about Russia. I just got this thing about Russia. Not Putin. I'm new. Don't particularly like the idea of communism myself. I'm just a little bit annoyed uh, what Putin's done in the early days. Um, I had a bit of respect for Putin, if I'm honest. He went in, he cleaned up Russia, so it seems, in just gradually over time, he's literally become an autocrat type. And yeah, up north in Scotland, always up late working in setup emulators. Yeah, I was speaking to someone in Glasgow the other day, actually during a stream, and I was saying to that person, what a nice place, what a really nice place Edinburgh was. I went up there, when was it? December last year. Bloody cold up there, like really cold. And yeah, I was hoping, really hoping to go back up to Scotland, Edinburgh again this December, but we'll see. And yeah, I love Scotland. Been up there once. My mum and dad's there up there all the time. I live in North Yorkshire, so it's not so much of a trek. Obviously, listening to my accent, you'll likely think I'm down south, but Bristolian, south of England. Okay, so let me have a quick look for you, Kushi. I think that's how you pronounce your name. Um, there is a converter tool, and I can't think what it's called. I've not used it for a long time, but I think it's PS3 ISO tools, possibly. Sister One. Let's have a look. Create ISO, extract ISO. It's something. ISO generator to convert PS3. I got a feeling it's actually this. This is the program you might want. So you can create ISOs, but the structure you're looking for RPCS3 is JB, uh, jailbreak folders. Let's have a look. So let's take a look at this. PS3 ISO to JB folder. Let's have a look. ISO to JB folder. Okay, so I've actually just read something and this makes sense. Extract the ISO where you unzipper it. So yeah, I've got it. What you need to do is open up the ISO you've got on a computer and it will open up into a file explorer, or it should do. Once you've opened up the ISO with your computer, what you can do then is literally drag the contents outside into a new folder, if that makes sense. If that method doesn't work, then it's a good chance PS3 ISO tools will likely do that for you. So you've got one there on archive.org. So there's a couple of areas there to look at. Euros are dedicated to retro streams, staying up late. I'm not personally, normally at this time of morning, 25 to 3. To be honest, I'm normally just on the last parts of painting some Warhammer miniatures, which I've been doing for a few hours today. I've got too many to paint. Or I'm in bed watching some random Russian stuff. It's either Russian stuff or literally just keeping up to date with the war, that type of thing in Ukraine and what I was just talking about. So, okay, Kushi. So, yeah, just summarize that again. So, it's either PS3 ISO tools, just Google that. And the other thing is open up, just literally double left click on the ISO image, should open up into a file explorer and it almost mount to your PC. Just copy those folders inside, drag them into another folder. That's what I recommend. Work nights normally. It's much trouble changing for weekends. Yeah, I understand that. 60 miles north of Edinburgh. Damn, even colder in Edinburgh. You know what, Blaze? When we went to Edinburgh, it was particularly cold, like literally cold. And the locals up there actually said it was extraordinarily cold for that time of year. It was in December. Granted, it's winter time, but yeah, when we went up, it was bitterly cold, like really cold, quite literally. In fact, me and my partner we tried going to have a drink, coffee, and it was so cold in Edinburgh on the high streets that most coffee shops are literally packed because no one wanted to be out in the cold, which was pretty weird. But oh, I loved Edinburgh. Such a nice place. You know what? The most cleanest place I've ever been to was Edinburgh. Quite literally, I commend the local council in Edinburgh for keeping the streets so clean. No chewing gum on the floor. Just absolutely phenomenal place. Love it. We went to Edinburgh Castle, and really, that's one of the best times I've had going out doing things with the missus. It was a really nice time out there. Yes, I've not covered PlayStation 3 on Batocera for a little while. The guide I just sent you is pretty old. Um, but yeah, it sounds familiar. If you just follow the guide Kushi, which I sent you, it will tell you in there. But so long as you've got your folders rather than the ISO, it should work fine. So yeah, give that a whirl and see what happens. Oh, so we got Cosmic, you're from Denmark. Denmark. I'm pretty sure football. I don't follow football. My partner does, but I'm pretty sure she said the other day England was playing Denmark. Like I said, no idea about football, but she's yeah, she enjoys football. So who else have we got here tonight? Is there any more questions anyone's got for me? If you do, if you're stuck on anything, now is a good time to ask, and you will literally get a direct answer back from me. So yeah, normally during live streams, which I do really a lot earlier in this, um, is I'll ask people pretty much, is there setup guides you want me to do, or anything else? So just a bit of feedback really, and just to make the channel as good as possible. One England was none pleased with the result I gathered. You know what? As far as I'm concerned, no team's ever happy or their fans, supporters are never happy. Even if England won uh, Denmark, there would have been people who was pissed off anyway. I don't get football. Right, it's not me. It's not for me at all. Um, you know what I was saying? Actually, bring my partner back into it the other day. I said, football is obviously a England sport, a national sport of England. And I said to her, wouldn't it be nice if our national sport become wargaming, tabletop gaming? Wouldn't that be cool? Is there a teknoparrot guide? There's many guides. Let me guide you to it, Mike. Depends actually. Before I link you up, what is it you want teknoparrot for? A standalone or teknoparrot for a front end? So teknoparrot, I've done a setup guide for a launchbox, retrobat standalone, and there's something else, not Batocera because teknoparrot isn't supported by Batocera. So uh, Well, your grandfather, Cosmic, was very right. I agree with him. Totally. 100%. Just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Fighting over a bloody leather ball. Okay, retrobat, teknoparrot. Yes. I always say, Mike, take a look. In my playlists, I've done around 140 guides for retrobat, and it's quite likely I've covered it. If it's retrobat, it's the most covered front end I've done on the channel. I just type in, I'll link you to this. Easy. Uh, Retrobat, teknoparrot. Tell you what, I've I did almost well, marathon as I called it. I got, let's take a look actually. Bear with me. Retrobat, teknoparrot. Okie dokes. Okay, Mike, here is the link direct to Retrobat Technoparrot. That should get you sorted. Okay, Peter, what's your opinion of playing older retro games, PS2 in... You know what? From time to time, when I've done videos like this, PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 enhancements, you either love it or hate it. You'll get some purists who will say, oh, you can't possibly stretch PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 1. That's your opinion, really. So, personally, really, it's a matter of opinion. One thing I love about emulation is enhancing things. So, to me, the ideal of enhancing a PlayStation 1 game from 1995 to bring it more up to date using texture packs, that's a great idea. But we also need to remember that these games were designed for 4x3. But you can also get widescreen hacks as well, so they don't look so stretched. Yeah, it turns out, Cosmic, my Grampy, I called him Grampy, he actually died a few months before I was born. But he actually fought in India as well. That's one of the places he went to during World War II. So yeah, I think football definitely 100%. I think you either love that or you don't. Personally, if it come to a sport, conventional sport, I would likely pick probably darts or even snooker over football. It just don't do it for me. What I don't get is how people will literally lose their shit over someone running around on a field kicking a ball. No, I very unpopular opinion here in England. Probably actually all over the world. Uh, just I don't get football. I don't get. Obviously, it's money orientated. It's a business at the end of the day, and I think footballers are paid far too much for their own goods. Exactly, exactly, Peter. I agree with you. On and off over the years, I have dabbled to a bit of football now and again, and although the games don't do it for me, I would actually prefer to be playing it myself rather than watching someone else do it. It's almost like watching someone playing a computer game and getting really entertained with it. I just don't get it. I don't get it. So yeah, I remember the early 90s. You had on the Commodore Amiga, you had games like Sensible Soccer at the time, which in Britain was massive, really, really big football game. And then obviously your started, and always remember FIFA 95 on the Sega Mega Drive or Genesis, being a really, really big game in its day. Then you had all the was it NHL games by EA, Electronic Arts. So, Mike, yeah, like I say, um, I do have a retrobat playlist. So, what I'll do for that is link you up. And if I send you the guide to this, anything else for retrobat, seriously, great new video playlist. Uh, as you can see, you've asked for two retrobat guides, and I've already done them. Like I say, there isn't much on retrobat I've not covered, so seriously, your best interest, check that one out. Retro Marine, that dog is a wanker. And I don't like to swear on my channel, but it's a wanker. Yeah. Now, that dog was barking to what, 10 o'clock tonight? We've got it all mic'd up. Like I said, I think you'll see the other night, the council gave us this massive microphone recording device thing. Um, it's insane. It's insane. The racket. I mean, I did a stream earlier on tonight, and I only did the stream at the time because I was planning to edit or record and then edit a video. The dog started barking, and it's literally impossible to get a clear head to think before recording. And you start recording, and that bastard dog keeps going on and on and on, and it's enough to drive you insane. Like quite literally, all day long, the dog yapping. So I've got no problem with dogs. I love dogs. I was brought up with two of them, but this dog is a wanker, an absolute wanker, and even more so, the owner of it is a wanker too. So. But anyways, he has been told twice now, probably more by the other people who lives around this area, to keep his dogs under control, and he's not doing it. So at the end of the day, he's likely going to be facing a judge for public disturbance, whatever it's called. So it might be annoying us now around this area, and yes, it prevents me from time to time recording videos. But this idiot is going to come off worse for not doing as the council's telling him to do. He's just a pain in the ass and his dog. So yeah, sorry about the language, but really I've lost my today with this bloke. Yeah, I totally agree, Cosmic. It's not the dog's fault. I call it a wanker because it's annoying, but at the end of the day, it's the owner's responsibility, and he doesn't bother. As far as I'm concerned, other people are concerned around this area I live in. He's totally neglecting the dog. He leaves the dog out on the balcony uh, all day long, literally. Even if it's raining, even if it's a hot day like it's been today, the dog is out on the balcony. It's disgusting. So Peter, let's see. So yeah, good advice, Peter, for Mike. But to be honest, I've not covered the Vita for a while, and I'm pretty sure you're right what you're saying there. But yeah, Mike, you'll have to check the video out anyway for that just to see for yourself. Yeah, Cosmic, there's a neighbor, a really nice bloke who lives opposite us. Really nice bloke, and he's reported the owner to what's known as the RSPCA for neglect and cruelty. They don't want to know, so it's yeah, it's just a pain in the ass. But all I can say is that I'm certainly not alone with this. We live in this cul-de-sac, and the dog echoes. There was a few weeks back, and my partner, she was out watching a show, boy group, take that notice group, and I'm not messing around when I say this, but you could literally hear in the distance people shouting out, shut up to the dog. It was really like listening to something from hell. It was nasty that night. Hello, $1 American. How you doing? So yeah, people around this area where I live, people's reporting these people. They're not nice people. They threaten me. They threaten women downstairs. I've seen all this myself. The bloke with this dog attempts to break into empty houses around there. God knows what for. And actually, earlier on today, I actually heard him complaining that somebody nicked his push bike. So a thief who's banned from a lot of shops where I live because he's a thief moans at the neighbours because someone's nicked it or stolen his bike, which was, I'd say, 90% stolen in the first place. Yeah, good on you, $1 American. So, I said her on this stream. Yeah, Cosmic, that's exactly my fault. So there you go. That's what people are like, though. You get people in the world, they take the piss, and they don't take the piss a little bit. They really try it on with you. And this idiot neighbor, he's threatened me a few times, and it, its whole concept is to intimidate people. You can see what he is. He's a bully, and he's fairly big. And he waves his arms around and all this stuff, going on saying he's been in prison and stuff like that. I said to him straight up a little while back, I said, "Dude, I don't care where you've been. You're just a bloke with too much gob on you, too much mouth." I came face to face with him the other day, and all these threats he made, well, he didn't even attempt to hit me. Like I say, he's just intimidation. He's just an absolute bully. And I always say, easiest way to deal with people like that is don't back down. Don't back down, or people like that will literally take control of you, and you don't want that to happen. Don't matter how big they are. Okay, doke. Say, man, just wondering, would a PS3 run good on a desktop? Ryzen 3, 16 gig. I don't actually know that particular CPU you got. I don't follow AMD chips. I'm an Intel user, so I mean, 16 gig of RAM sounds good to me. The best way to determine that is to check out the RPCS3 website and see what the hardware requirements are. Uh, there's actually been an RPCS3 major improvement the other day, where lower end computers are beginning to run some games like really well. So RPCS3 is a constant work in process. It gets better and better. So you're right, Mike. When I first encountered this idiot, he literally moved in about a week after we did into where we currently are. And um, he's had an attitude towards me. In fact, he's got attitude to everyone. He's just one of those people. And he asked me for a cigarette one night, and I didn't like the way he approached me. It was pretty much, "Give me a cigarette." And I said to him, "No." And he asked me again. He said, "What do you say?" And I said, "No." Or something like that, to that effect. And then he was asking for Rizla, or cigarette papers. And Jesus Christ, he, if anyone's aware what a chav is, um, this bloke is a chav. I'm not sure what the terminology for that is in America or anywhere else, but in Britain, a chav is just horrible, horrible people. Uh, Tracksuits, just trash. I suppose. Not good people. Certainly don't not people I don't choose to hang around with. So not into that. So yeah, it was actually funny the other day. Like I said, I came face to face with him, and he was talking to me quite politely for this bloke. And you're talking about a bloke which screams like a little girl if he don't get his own way. When I said to him no for cigarettes, he'll literally scream, threaten you, jump all over the place like he's still in some sort of aerobics class. And yeah, I came face to face with him, and I said to him, "Look, pal, what's your game? Why are you giving everyone around here a hard time?" He said, "Just shut your damn dog up, man." Uh, and I started taking the piss out of him at the time. It's like historically, he's been downstairs, hopping and bopping around the car park like he's all getting psyched up to attack me or something. So I was face to face with him the other day. And I was literally taking a piss out of him in front of my missus and her cousin, and I'm there jumping around in front of him like some sort of ape or something. And yeah, obviously he didn't attack me because he's just an asshole, just total pure intimidation tactics. Anyway, his friend walked up from behind where he was stood. And literally, this idiot said to his friend, I'm literally there and then just called him scumbag. Says, "Oh, whoa, I didn't say no such thing." And oh yeah, you know what? At 40 years old, this bloke is probably around the same age, give or take. It's untrue. It's untrue that people of that age are acting like this. When I was a teenager, you get bullied like any teenager does in their own way. But to think at 40 years old, I'd be going back to those sort of times. This is weird, man. Like proper weird. But he's got to announce to the world though that he's been to prison for protecting his family. He probably went to prison to be fair for hindering or hurting his family, but it seems like take on bullies like in Final Fight. That's right, man. Okie dokes, what time are we on? So I'm going to be off in a few minutes, and can't believe that hour has gone round so quickly. Crazy stuff. Crazy. So I'm going to leave it again, and if anyone wants to donate, support the channel, please do so. It really helps out my channel, and I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. So PayPal is on there. Like I say, if anyone wants to donate, support me, what I do, please go ahead and donate. And I'd be very supportive. Getting a bit tired now. I'll be very chuffed with anything donated to support channel. Far too much hot air. Yeah. Trouble is that when you're dealing with people like this, you don't know who they are. They're talking about being in prison. Yeah, I knew at the time it was just nonsense. At a certain age, you get to know people's characteristics if they're genuine, but there's always that air of caution. And I was talking to a neighbor about this incident when he first started jumping around like aerobics, whatever it was he was trying to do. And he said he's all talk. The police got called out when we reported him one night. And yeah, the police pretty much confirmed he's not actually known to the police for violence, although he is known to the police for a ridiculous amount of thefts and being a petty little criminal. He's not known for violence. So, with that, yeah, he's nothing more than just mouth. Johnny Cage spinning round kick. Yeah, it would be nice, but I don't want to hit anyone. I don't have a criminal record at all. So never have a criminal record, never will. And if I was going to have a criminal record, um, I'd make damn sure it's for something a little bit better than punching some idiot like that. It's not going to happen. That's how I look at it. Uh, no. But having said that, I did have a plan. I did think about it. When you're out in public, and you come face to face with someone like that, he's threatening you, what do you do? I come up with a plan, and my plan was to use a bit of judo on him, which I used years ago. And obviously, that's not punching, that's not kicking, that's literally putting him to the ground and then waiting for the police to come along to do something after he's tried hitting me. So it don't matter. This idiot, like they say around here, the people who's lived in this area for a long time, they say people like that, they come and go. Um, as we know, the council are pretty much onto them at the moment for the dog and all that. So they've always got professionals going in and out the house. They're just a pain in the ass. So a real shame because it is a really nice area we live in here. But yeah, the Johnny Cage thing, I like the sound of that. It's pretty cool. You know what? Personally, I'd like to do a blanker. You know, when you sort of like get down and you get that electricity coming out with you. Yeah, that'd be good. Just electrocute the mofo. Okay, so we are in an hour. Like I've been saying, it's so late here. So what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to roll a cigarette, and in that time, if anyone can ask me or kind of give me some ideas what you want covered on the channel, just drop it in the chat just there. And yeah, normally if someone gives me an idea and not covered it or even heard about it, I'll cover it. I'm a retro emulation channel. I wouldn't worry about these situations. Yeah, it will go away. Like I said, he likely won't last very long. He's had so many arguments here with people. It's nah. Yeah, I don't want to sound like a snob, but he don't fit into the area. He's too loud. Too loud. I mean, you literally know when this bloke is home. You can hear him. Literally. He's always shouting at his missus in there. He's always shouting at his kids. The whole street knows when he's around. I'm telling you, if the woman in there don't get rid of him, he'll end up leaving us. It's too much. You know what, Peter? I've actually got a playlist for Steam Deck. I did have a Steam Deck. I bought it with some money. My partner's mum gave me a few £100 for my 40th birthday last October, and I actually bought a Steam Deck for this channel, but it wasn't too popular at the time, so I'm not particularly a portable person, but I thought, well, let's actually buy this for the channel and it wasn't too popular. So I do have a playlist, and the setup guides for Steam Deck are still working fine. It's just I don't own a Steam Deck anymore. He does, Mike. Obviously you say people you don't get on with, they got mental this, mental that, their edge cases, whatever. Uh, this bloke, I would likely say, um, I'm not sure. I'm not a psychologist or a mental health professional as such. I've got full training in autism, but this isn't autism. I'm not sure what it is. Like I said, I wouldn't like to judge. So, yeah, wouldn't like to judge. But, autism wise, me and my partner's pretty much a specialist in autism. I did a full class on autism. So, yeah, I got a very good idea about that world. And, yeah, definitely I can tell an autistic person a mile off very easily. I've worked with autistic people plenty in the past. So, yeah, let's just forget about this bloke. He's not worth my damn stream anymore. But when he goes, I won't be talking about the dog. I won't be talking about him. We'll be talking about retro gaming. I was just about to drink this water, and it's actually my paint water thing from painting earlier on today. So it would be a first time I tried doing that by accident. Okay, I'd like to see more how into HD packs for N64 and where to get those packs if possible. $1 American, very briefly, is that for a standalone emulator or for something like retrobat? Because I have covered HD packs for N64. Let me just check HD. what is it I done? HD pack wise, I've done N64 for retrobat texture packs. I did a Nintendo NES texture pack, which was pretty phenomenal. That one. Yeah, N64, how to install HD custom texture packs. That's for the Rosalie's Mupen GUI emulator. So yeah, I've covered a fair few there for different platforms. Let's take a look. Do you buy emulation retro consoles? I don't literally. The only things I do have emulation wise is a C64 or the C64 Maxi, massive C64 fan, and to me this is one of the best around modern wise. The other thing I've got is the A500 Mini. Got a Raspberry Pi 400, and yeah, you know what I say on streams, other streams, that I don't actually play that many retro games. I spend most of the day discovering new things to cover on the channel. My spare time pretty much goes into model painting. You know, I've got a lot of Warhammer models, and yeah, so quite literally, now and again, if I'm doing a countdown video, like I did today for Commodore 64, I'll literally spend a few minutes on each game, 10 minutes max, just to get a feel of the game. And yeah, that's it. So gaming wise, no. In the ideal world, I'd play a lot of games, but I just don't have time at all anymore. Um, Gave up on modern day consoles probably after the PlayStation 3 finished years ago when modern games don't excite me anymore. I just think they're very boring. They look nice, but gameplay wise, just no. I just think modern games are much kind of like to me, are a little bit like films nowadays. They're just a lack of something decent out there. So yeah, I mean there is loads, and people will ask me this time to time. Is like, is there a portable retro emulation device you recommend? And there's so many out there. You've got the Ambernic models, you of course got the Steam Deck, and you've got all this new generation now of pretty much portable PCs. The list is endless, but I can see why people would collect them. But yeah, it's not some I collect as such. $1 American, so texture packs, they're very fussy. One thing you need to be certain of is that the pack you've got is 100% compatible with the game, so region specific in most cases. Another thing to think is your emulator for the same time that texture pack was made. So there could be a couple of things just there. For example, if you tried running a ZX Spectrum game on an Xbox, it wouldn't be compatible. So yeah, I did find that myself with some emulators. Texture packs are very fussy, and it's normally down to the region of the game or the version of the game. And yeah, it's a little bit annoying. Yeah, I've heard of Retro Game Corps. Good channel. Myself, I enjoy Metal Jesus Rocks. Um, Very good channel, and yeah, I do watch Metal Jesus Rocks. He's got a lot of criticism, but I think he's obviously someone like myself who's trying to make YouTube a completely full-time thing, and he's done it very well, really well. Tech Dweeb, yeah, that one sounds familiar. I do like some modern games. Absolutely love Cyberpunk. Yeah, you know what? Cyberpunk was a good game. I admit that. bought that one on PC through Steam, I think it was when it came out. Now, the odd thing about Cyberpunk, obviously, it had a really bad release. A lot of people was complaining. I didn't have any issues with it on PC at all. There's probably a minor glitch here and there, but people was going on and on saying it was awful. Now, granted, the PlayStation 4 was quite likely underpowered in the first place. Hey man, I downloaded GBA Pokemon Fire Red and it has a background of GBA console and the game is not fit the screen. Only the middle part. Kushi, is this batocera or what is this? So if it's for batocera, yeah, if it's for batocera, you need to adjust the decoration settings and the aspect ratio. Yeah, so in batocera, if you press once you go into your Game Boy Advance games, if you press the equivalent of select on your controller, scroll down and you'll find something like advanced settings. If you go from there, make sure the aspect ratio and decorations is configured the way you want it. So under aspect ratio, you have likely 4 by 3, 16 by 9, which will stretch it. For Game Boy Advance games, I'd also recommend using a decoration, even a mega bezel for that. Yeah, so funny enough, I was only speaking to someone about this the other day about Cyberpunk, and I just came to the conclusion sometimes when someone gets a bad name, everyone jumps on the bandwagon, and I think Cyberpunk was partly, yeah, that was Cyberpunk. So you know what? It was pretty much the only release I remember having such a bad reception, and I don't think that game was as half as bad as what people was making it out to be at the time. But in terms of the game itself, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. There's actually a board game of Cyberpunk. Uh, I collect board games, or like the idea will collect them on Amazon. Let me just check this out for you. Cyberpunk board game. So if you're into nerdy board games like I am, there is actually a board game just with miniatures in it, and you've even got an expansion pack for it. It looks pretty cool, I gotta say. I mean, check this out. Night City, yeah, absolutely great franchise, and I'd like to see more of that. And yeah, it's pretty obvious Cyberpunk is going to be here for a while. It is, it's quite impressive how many board games around nowadays are people aren't really aware of. I mean, if I go back over to Amazon, check this out. You've even got the Last of Us board game somewhere if I can find it. Would you believe it? Can't see it, but yeah, there's some very impressive games, board games. Anyways, everyone, it's now 3:15. I am shattered. Ah, cool. Yeah, it's a bit of a pain when people hack accounts like that. Really annoying. Anyways, it's 3:15. I am hanging out of my bottom, if I'm honest with you all. So I'm gonna love you all and leave you, and I will be back another night. So, anyways, until next time, stay retro.